checking out episode 12 of the Enkindle Columbus podcast. You're listening to All Night by Spice Jar, which has absolutely nothing to do with the guest on the show this week, illustration artist Oscar Zavala. You can find some of Oscar's work on Instagram at Z4Zavala.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Enkindle Columbus. Also, did you know we started a Patreon? For as low as $2 a month, you can support the local music scene and get your name mentioned on the podcast as a supporter.
Anyways, here's the podcast. Welcome to the Enkindle Columbus podcast. My name's Zach.
And this is Alonzo, and today we're with Oscar Zavala of Z4Zavala, illustrationist from Columbus. How are you, dude?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
Excellent.
I'm okay. I've been better. No, I'm kidding.
I thought you were going to say living the dream.
Living the dream, yeah. It was like the last 4 episodes we've done. No, it feels good to finally have another. Is visual artist a good term to
It'd
you?
be illustration artist.
Illustration
because
artist.
I just kind of draw. I don't really have a theme.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good place to start with this. So your illustration. What has brought you to this form of art?
Like, what got me into it? Or?
Yeah, I guess your overall. Like, what started you with art?
Well, I mean, like, I guess how I got into art was because I never really paid attention in school, so I was constantly like doodling, and eventually I got to the point where I was like, okay, I guess I need to start getting serious. And I didn't really start getting serious until my senior year of like high school. And then what led to like, I guess, starting like an Instagram like page to post my art or whatever. I think if you're an artist or like, if you draw or do paintings or whatever, like posting stuff like that and getting feedback really does help.
Absolutely. Instagram is like the place to go for being able to put yourself out there and share your art.
Is that where a lot of your work is found, is just on Instagram?
Yeah. I've been trying to use other websites or whatever.
For like what?
For posting art.
No, I mean like what other platforms?
Oh, well, there's DeviantArt, and it's a little bit like notorious for just being like weird.
Mm-hmm. You can say whatever. It's cool. Like what you can go. What is this DeviantArt?
Okay, well, so DeviantArt's really weird.
Okay,
and it's typically a page, like it's in the name. There's a bunch of deviants there or whatever, and I posted my work there, and everyone will like all these weird people will like DM me or comment being like, "Hey, you want to role play?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to post my art." And I thought I had and this has been happening, okay? And they'll delete their comment right after. Like, there's a little comment section on your page. So they'll post like a little comment saying, hey, want to role play for everyone to see. So it's kind of embarrassing. But, there was like one normal comment where it was like, hey, how's your day going? And I said, oh, good. And then immediately he was like, hey, want to role play? And I was just like, no.
You tricked me.
Yeah, I was just like, you're a weirdo too. But it is a really good website for like if you get past all the weird stuff, there's really talented artists on there.
So I guess my question to you is, do you want to role play?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, well, I get stopped that
episode podcast's over. We're done.
Well, DeviantArt actually hired us for this podcast. Well, no,
they sent us to hunt you down.
I think it's cool, like seeing kind of what you do. Would you say your art like pays tribute to these certain like kind of icons? Like, for example, I'm looking at your Instagram right now. It says, I like drawing in Nintendo. And you can find a lot of Nintendo characters and just different kind of video game culture, as a whole. So do you think video game culture is what kind of inspires your art? Is that why you do it? Or what is it? What do you find intriguing with Nintendo and just video games in general?
If you look at my page, you'll notice there's a lot of Wario. And I really like just how he's designed. I think the greatest thing is like Nintendo has a lot of really interesting designed characters.
Absolutely.
So then it's fun to draw them, and I think that's like the rule of thumb. If you if it's like this, if this design is good, is it fun to draw? Can kids draw it? Stuff like that. And it's just like that's when you got like a good designed character.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, like definitely, like Nintendo inspires me to draw. I like how creative they are, but I wouldn't say like their style has influenced me. I think most of a lot of like I get a lot of my art style comes from artists from like the internet.
Like who?
So the guys who made like Castle Crashers and stuff like that, or like the Behemoth, the guys from Newgrounds, that website, they all have like this really interesting sort of like, I don't want to say childish like art style, but it's definitely like
whimsical.
Yeah, and it's really fun, and it's fun to look at, and it's just a fun time, and that's sort of where I'm trying to like push my art to, is to have that like, this is fun to look at. So,
do you think Newgrounds has curated a culture for art?
So like,
And what is that culture, if there is a culture?
so I mean, I guess like, if you don't know what Newgrounds is a place for essentially, everything for everybody. That's sort of like, what they do cultivate a lot of really creative people, and some of the most like well-known people came from Newgrounds. Like before there was YouTube, there was Newgrounds, and that's all it was.
I remember those days.
Yeah, and it's just like, and everyone moved to YouTube. Well, Newgrounds is still going strong today. There's still, if you want to like find someone to collab with, there's amazing musicians, artists. So like, I forget the question, but I really do like Newgrounds.
The culture.
The culture.
Yeah, I think you've answered, like you talking about.
Yeah, I was just like, they do a really good job cultivating creative culture and just constantly trying to outdo each other.
The only stuff I remember watching on Newgrounds was like YouTube poop before it was called YouTube poop. It was just like all, stuff like parodying things, and I used to really enjoy it. I'm a big like Metal Gear Solid fan. They used to have these things called Metal Gear Solid Fiesta, and they were just super derpy. But it was fun to watch.
Have you ever seen like Dragon Ball P or like, all those goofy things?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they came from Newgrounds. So
Yeah.
It's just like, I really like that website, and I think it's actually coming up. Like,
It's cool that they're still around, 'cause it's been, like you said, it's pre-YouTube. It's pre,
Well,
like, a lot of the big...
I think Newgrounds has like evolved.
Yeah, it's becoming
that's what I'm
popular
saying.
again.
Yeah, it's becoming something more than what it started out. So do you think, what do you think is the most important thing for yourself right now to grow? How do you think you can grow? Like with Instagram and Newground, is that your two biggest places you want to grow, or what do you think?
My two biggest places I want to grow is Instagram and I guess YouTube, but YouTube won't be really art related. But I mean, yeah, Newgrounds definitely though. I wouldn't mind having a big fan base there. There's tons of cool people on Newgrounds.
Yeah, it's a good place for, like you said, artists to be discovered.
Yeah.
As far as YouTube goes, what do you want to get into, as far as YouTube?
I definitely want to get into creative stuff like animations, sort of more of like. So I guess jumping into animations, I'm a really big fan of like high like energy, super fast like Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
It's just like I guess I could. I don't want to say I'm inspired. My art style's inspired. There's tons of buff people on my Instagram, but I mean, Dragon Ball Z has kind of pushed me. Like, man, I really like how, like, that whole animation setup or whatever. Like, I'm trying to explain it, like, just like the energy and just the action packs. It's just like, I'd love to make animation like that where, like, constant fight scenes and stuff
Now,
like that.
do you work on animation now at all? Is that something that you're...
I don't post anything, but yes, I do. Like,
Okay.
I do, like, practice, like, the basics of animation. So, like, like in-betweens and stuff like that.
Okay.
But
What are in betweens? What do you mean?
So essentially, you would draw like 2 frames. If I don't want to get this wrong, but essentially, you would draw 2 frames, okay, and then you would animate in between those so it'd match. So say like you would draw like there'd be someone getting ready to jump and then someone about to jump, and then you draw in betweens.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, to make it more fluid.
More fluid, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you nowadays, like, do artists that do animation, is there anything digital, or does it start on paper before digital?
I'm pretty sure, like paper. You're talking about like cell animation.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry,
that's,
I don't. I'm,
Well, I'm
yeah,
no. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I don't want to. I don't want to sound
No. That's good that
pretentious.
you're explaining it because, like, I'm sure there's going to be some people listening to this that also don't know. So, what's it called? Cell animation?
Yeah, cell animation. Basically, you would like people would paint a background, and then there would be this like see-through pieces of paper that they would paint the character on. So, like the background could stay the same, but the characters
So
could do.
you can overlay characters
Yeah.
and actions and things like that on top of. Okay.
Yeah, that's
on a
how it
background.
typically was done. Disney was like the master of that. But now it's all done digitally because it's cheaper and it's just a lot more efficient to just do animation that way.
Now, something in music, there's a big argument about digital versus analog. Is that a thing in the animation world? Is there an argument about whether digital or analog is a better way to go? I guess analog, as in terms of
I don't see it as much as I used to, but people would really talk down to like digital artists. They're like, "Oh, that's not real art." They're like,
Yeah.
"Nothing beats pen and paper." And it's just like yeah, these people would be weird and like pretentious.
I mean, no matter what, you're going to have pretentious people on the internet that are going to hate.
You get the gear
matter
snobs
what.
and music. They're like, oh, you're not using a fucking tube amp, digital, whatever it is.
But you'll be surprised how many people just get shit on. I mean, I'm sorry for cussing.
You can
but,
cuss. That's cool.
okay. But you'd be surprised how many people just get shit on because they're just doing digital art. There's no physical copy of it. It's just like I'm printed off. I don't know what you want me to do.
Well, I mean, I know like that argument is there in terms of like photography as well. Digital photography versus film. There seems to be a big argument when it comes to digital versus, analog with quotes around it.
I mean, art is art,
Exactly.
So it's just like
Exactly.
as long as something's being created, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
What do you think taints the art culture?
What taints the art culture? That's a good question.
I mean, do you think? I know people. There's like political art. I know like some people use their art to push their views. What do you think is wrong with, I guess this online culture, who you meet in Instagram, Newgrounds, these people you meet with? What do you think taints that?
I think the really big problem with like, I guess I don't want to say what taints or whatever because like everyone has their bad apples, or every community, not even community, but any genre.
Absolutely.
But like I'm not a fan of political. Anytime someone does like a political drawing or whatever, I'm not a fan of that because it typically undermines the argument of both sides. Like obviously, there's going to be biases, whatever, but it's just like it's almost to the point of like ignoring the two like opinions and just being this is the right answer, which I don't really like. So it's I don't know. I wouldn't say taint, but I think a really big problem in the art community is you're automatically right if you're better than the other artist. So if you get in an argument, so it's like if this guy could draw like the Mona Lisa or whatever, it's just like, and I was arguing with him, I'd automatically be wrong.
Yeah.
Because he's a better artist than me. So I think that's a big problem.
I can see how that could be toxic.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely toxic. It's just like, oh, you're just jealous. They'll like hit you with that or whatever. If you're trying to like have a conversation with them about like, well, I don't think you should have done this with it. Like if we're talking about like a drawing or a painting or whatever, and they'll be like, well, you're wrong or whatever. He's like, yeah, he's a better artist. He doesn't need to improve, or you're invalid because you can't draw, like stuff like that. I do see a bunch of people, so art styles or whatever. I do see people get harassed if they have the same art style as another person, and it's almost weird.
Well, it's like you should be allowed to take inspiration from somebody as long as you're not stealing their work. There's a fine line between inspiration.
I mean, as long as you're straight up not
theft.
copying, like
Yeah.
don't copy that piece of work. But if like how are you going to tell someone to stop drawing if they have the same art style?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Can
just
you
like
trademark a style though? Like, can you?
I don't think you can. You shouldn't.
Okay.
That's bad.
I mean, that'd be the equivalent of like trademarking a key in music.
Yeah.
Like I make all my music in the key of A, and if you make your music in the key of A, you're infringing upon that.
Right.
Like that's a pretty dangerous road to go down. So I could see how that could be an issue. Now, you talked about art styles. What's a kind of art style that you enjoy? Not necessarily something that you create, but you look at and you think is just like, wow, that's really cool.
I think I don't even know what to call it. Sort of like surrealism,
Okay.
but like it'd be cartoony, but it's mixed, but it has like realistic lighting, and
Okay.
just like I don't even know what to call it, but it's I guess surrealism's my favorite type of like I guess art,
Yeah.
art genre maybe, but I wouldn't say like art style. There's tons of art styles I like, but I don't know the names of them.
Yeah, I guess there's so much, just like genres of music. You know,
Yeah.
there's new things created every day. It's kind of hard to keep up with that.
What is your style called? Like, I know you said illustrationist earlier. I think I said that right. Is there like subcategories? Like, there's metal, but there's also thrash metal, new metal, gent or whatever.
I mean, the categories is like digital artist, painter. That's those genres, I guess, of art.
Right. Okay.
But I don't even have a style right now. I'd say it's sort of just like,
I mean, you're
like
kind of
whatever you enjoy
it's kind
doing.
of cartoony.
yeah, I
I
was just
think.
like, well, I mean, obviously, like I lean more towards cartoon style. I hate drawing realism. I don't see the fun in that. But like, I can understand why someone else.
Well, it's funny you say realism, but like it's cool like seeing like you have these like mask figured people on your Instagram right now, and looking through it, I mean like their anatomy is very like human-y. I think that's the word I want to use.
Humanesque.
Humanesque.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
So
anatomy.
do you have to like drawing stuff like this? Do you study the human anatomy to be able to draw, biceps, that different, shades of like from overlapping muscles and stuff like this?
Yeah, I mean, like, so if you want to get serious with art or drawing in general, you're gonna have to like learn the rules before you break them. So it's just like I have a book on anatomy that literally shows like how muscles would bend or like work with each other to move an arm. So I mean I do study anatomy. I sort of like I don't want to say half-ass, but like if you look at like my muscles, obviously there's some muscles that don't exist in the human body that exist on my characters.
Very over the top.
Yeah, but that's also like, so like I guess another thing is I'm very inspired by like comics, and it's just like superheroes or whatever. I like how these like I like big and powerful.
Yeah.
So it's just like I like drawing my characters that way. Mm-hmm. But I also suffer from like same face, same body syndrome, where like I'll draw the same character or I'll draw different characters but with the same body, or like physique of face and stuff like that. So, I mean, what else is your question?
No, I
Sort
mean,
of going on a tangent. I'm sorry.
I kind of forget where it started
Yeah.
from. Oh no, we were talking about the anatomy and stuff. And you answered it.
All right.
So I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Do you think that's a way to learn art is by like studying other people's art? Is that how you learn, or how do people do that?
Like, so this is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys, if this is like the best way of learning, but deconstruction, I don't like.
Oh yeah,
Have you ever listened to
I do that with solos of songs and stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
listen to
just like-
someone I like, and I'll take the solo, break it down part by part, see how they do their bends, see how they do vibrato or whatever it is, and then I try to recreate it. It's
So-
never the same, but it's
So like the holy grail of knowledge when it comes to art is watching someone draw and seeing how they did it. And that's like the most useful thing ever.
Oh yeah, getting to see how everything comes
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, how
you
he-
kind of see like what their creative process is.
Because and that's the greatest thing about like digital art is seeing how they did it or whatever. Of course, like you don't know what material they used. I mean, obviously they're doing it digitally, but if you try to do it on paper or whatever, you can have a vague idea of like, okay, I need to replicate that. But like I think that's the beauty of the internet is being able to like watch streams or recordings of how someone drew something, and then you could just watch it over and over and just like, okay, this is how he does muscles, or this is how he gets that look. So,
sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, what inspires you to create? Like, how do you start? I mean, do you ever get into, like a time? I'm kind of blanking on what I want to call it, but a time where you are having trouble being creative? Like
Art
what gets
block?
what gets you out of
A
your
writer's
block?
block, art block.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. I'm like,
yeah.
I know what a writer's block is. I'm trying to think of how that would apply to art. But I mean, what do you how do you get out of that, or what inspires you to get out of that?
So I used to have like a really big problem where like I just wouldn't draw, which is bad. It's almost like not eating. Yeah. You start just getting all withered away. You start losing that skill. But recently, what I do is I'll just draw stuff. Like if I'm playing a video game, and I enjoy that video game or whatever, I'll draw the characters from that to get me out of that art block.
For sure.
So it's just like that's like sort of my best remedy is draw something you like, or like something you enjoy. Like do fan art. Fan art is a great way to get out of art block because you're not thinking about it, you're just making it.
Yeah.
So it's like it already exists. There's no.
Do you enjoy getting like messages from people telling you like, "Hey, you should do this. You should do this."
Yeah. I love messages in general. I like interaction, social interaction.
Your posts get a lot of that on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I've been trying lately. I've been trying to encourage that, just like and that's all artists. All artists really want people to talk to them.
Is that the best way to support them? Then how do you, when it comes to like making the art scene bigger? What do people need to do to support it?
So what a lot of artists have been doing is sharing artwork to so on Instagram you can share pictures to your stories. Okay, well. What a lot of us in the art community do is we'll just share pictures of the most thing we like on their art page to our stories and be like, hey, go check them out. Sort of shouting each other out.
Yeah, it's like a shout out kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's just but it's a web of shout outs. So it's just
that's cool. You can scroll through someone's story and you can see, all these different pieces.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that.
So it's that's how we've been helping. But if you're a consumer of art, you like looking at it and you want to help them grow, you just share.
It's like an online gallery just through your story of different artists.
Yeah. It's if you want to help support an artist, share their work around. Don't take the post and repost it. Don't do that. But leave a link, or if you're on Instagram, you can share that post to your story. That's the most helpful thing ever.
That's something I was just about to ask about is how do you feel and how do you think the community feels in terms of reposting people's art? I mean, obviously, when you do a repost the correct way, the artist's name is at the bottom of the work, but do you consider that I'm not going to say stealing because, if it's done correctly, the artist should be named on it, but
most artists, I'm assuming, I'm speaking for a group, I'm sure they really like being shared, but you need to do it super correctly or it comes off as kind of sleazy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound pretentious or anything or whatever, but it's just I really don't like it when someone takes a picture and just posts it on their Instagram or whatever. I kind of unless it's fan art of another artist's original character and I drew it for them, then yes, you can post that. That's your character. Go do whatever you want. But if you're just sort of taking a picture and you're sort of it's a weird there would be I'm trying to see an example, a Nintendo page, okay, that would show a bunch of Nintendo art or whatever, and they sort of just take it, didn't even ask me or anything, just posted it, and they just put it's not even so I wouldn't even notice it. So it'd just be hey, made by Z for Zavala. There's no credit, no
So
way.
yeah, that's kind of stealing your work in a way.
Yeah, there's no way to find me. You just you see the name, but that's all that matters. It's well, leave a link or something. Or
sounds like the same kind of issue with meme accounts, stealing people's. Obviously memes. I don't know if you consider that art. I don't know. I don't want to offend people by saying they're not art because I've seen some pretty artful memes. But meme pages on Instagram who just compile thousands of artists' work. They don't tag them. I think the big one was Fuck Jerry, who now people have an issue with. I don't know if you've ever seen that account before.
I have not.
Mega account that just steals people's memes, uses them as their own.
That was
and
a soul
profits.
flow.
Wait, was he on the news? Was he on the news because they were they put him on the spot and make a meme about this?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I have seen that. And he blatantly doesn't.
It's a company, but I think it was I don't know all the backstory, so I'm probably gonna butcher the whole thing, but there's at least a couple guys involved. But yeah, they were on a news thing.
He's horribly unfunny.
Yes.
And he's just like, when they put him on the spot to make a meme, and he's like, and he doesn't know how to make a
like
meme.
a really cringy meme that he comes out with.
Yeah, like it's a picture of Trump holding a kid and he's crying. And like they half-ass it, and they're like, when dad takes you to get us to buy shoes or whatever, like
Just-
something lame.
Yeah.
Something lame and unfunny. So like, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I didn't know their name, but
Yeah.
Meme accounts are stupid. I'll be honest.
Ooh, hot take.
Yeah, hot take.
It's not a hot take.
You heard
It's
it
not a
here.
hot take.
That's not. Yeah, that's not a hot take. That's just reposting memes. I'm pretty sure they don't even take themselves serious.
No. No,
It's like the reaction channels on YouTube.
Yeah,
They're just watching a video,
You're-
watching someone else watching a video.
I've never seen a meme account get like, these are art. How dare you insult me? Like, how dare you tell me these memes aren't funny? I am the most humorous person I know.
I guess segueing. I don't want to use segue, but just going back to the topic at hand of art.
Oh,
for
sorry
you, for your art.
Sorry for jumping.
No. I mean,
your fault.
Oscar said,
kidding, it's not your
if
fault.
you have a meme channel, you suck. That's what he said, and we
I did
recorded
say
it. So I'm just looking on your Instagram here. Collabs. How many times have you done a collab? What's that like, collabing with other people, and what do you want from the other person when you collab? Like what's this whole process of collabing?
Okay, so I don't want to step on any toes, but like I recently collabed with someone, and I drew a picture of like an Enderman or whatever from Minecraft, and he did a really good job on his. So basically, I sketched it out, okay, and I did the outline or whatever, and I drew it, and then it's on my Instagram, but I drew this outline or whatever, and he digitally drew it and like colored it, okay, and it turned out really good, but he signed it and only put his name, so like. I didn't want to say anything, and I didn't want to be mean to him or whatever, or like I don't want to sound whiny. But
Yeah.
like, hey,
But no, I mean, that's a serious, like, you got to have credit for the work that you do.
yeah, and like the only thing
In
he
any
did-
industry.
and I mean, like, he posted it on, like, he came to me asking for, to draw something and he'll color it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great, but like he only signed it himself, and I don't like, yeah, you did like the coloring, but I was just like,
It has to start from somewhere, right?
yeah, I was just like, I mean, we could be like, Z for Zavala plus, who you are, So it's just like, and I don't want to say like, I typically, I feel more comfortable collabing with people like I've talked to
Yeah.
for like a while.
It's because you have that connection. They're not going to screw you over.
Yeah, and it's just, and I wasn't like, it's not like we're making any money out of this, drawing this picture.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like we both worked on it. We both straight up did 50% each work. So I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd be upset like if I did a collaboration, with an artist musically, and and I, let's say, build a beat and build half the song, and then the artist lays vocals over it, and then there's no credit to me. I'm like, well,
Yeah, it's like at the end of the song, he whispers, "Made by Zach." Like,
But you can't understand
yeah,
it.
it's just like you can't understand. That's exactly what's going
that's
on.
more than what you received
Yeah.
from that. So credit's huge. I think in any kind of art, you have to credit when you collaborate with people. You have to credit the other person, or you're gonna come off as an asshole.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, I'm not trying to point them out and like they didn't credit me, kill him.
Send your fans.
Yeah, and it was just like my fans will beat up your fans, but no, it's just like obviously they didn't intend to come off that way, and I'm pretty sure they didn't even think about it. But it's just like it's just like we're both trying to grow here. We're both small.
A little bit of consideration goes
Yeah.
a long way.
Yeah.
At least they're thinking about you.
Yeah, sneeze in your arm, not on me.
Yeah.
What is your what's your commissions like when you do commissions? How's that been for you?
So
And explain what commissions are to people that don't know what commissions.
So commissions are basically someone hires you to draw something for them, okay? Or like commissions in general, just someone hires you to make something.
Yeah.
And so when you're an artist and you're trying to start commissions, whatever, cover your ass, specify, I do not draw this, I do not draw that, okay? You get, if you're not, you pay me half, and then once the whole thing's done, you also give me the other half or whatever.
So they pay you before you give them anything?
Yeah, just half.
Do you
And
watermark stuff?
Yes. You don't want them. There is, people. So I think another problem artists face is entitled artist or whatever, which doesn't make any sense. If I'm putting work into something and I'm asking for money for it and we both agreed upon that, there isn't entitlement. This is agreement.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it's like a lot of them get stepped over because like they're like, oh, I'm not going to pay. Like if you agreed upon it like $20 and they're like, I'm not going to pay you the extra 10 or whatever. It's like, because you didn't do such a good job.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So he's like, you can get fucked over so easily. But I guess if you're asking like the whole, like when should an artist start commissioning or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can dive into that. Like, when should they? When do you think is a good time?
I think when you have an ample amount of like art supplies, because nothing's worse than taking on something you can't do.
or signing up for something and then realizing that you have to spend more money in supplies than you're going to get paid for it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's why like the digital artists typically get more commissions because
it's digital. You don't have to.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Can
you charge more if you acoustically draw?
Honestly, depending on like my favorite artist, someone I look up to, he charges like $200 for his like work, and he's a digital artist.
Okay,
but he does such an amazing job.
Well, I think that's what's cool about art pricing is it's really it's cool and it's a bad thing. I think
it's
at
what
the same
you think
time.
of it, right?
But it's like there is no inherent value on a piece of art. It's all about what somebody's willing to pay for it. Or
like the guy who does JonTron.
Yeah.
His logo. Like I follow the artist who did his logo, and he's like he's an incredible artist, but he's super weird. He draws like super weird, not safe for work.
Okay.
Drawing.
Like porn?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He draws super weird porn, but he did the logo, and it's really interesting. He's a cool guy, but weird art.
Well, while we're talking commissions, I heard through the grapevine that you've done some pretty interesting commissions in the past.
What's the craziest thing you've done?
Oh, man. I don't want to talk.
You can get gnarly. You
no,
get gnarly
I don't want to.
You don't even want to talk about it. They're that bad.
Listen,
you don't want to talk about
it. Here's a little like money-making tip. Appeal to the furry community, okay? Furries have these characters or whatever.
Yeah, what's a furry? Explain. Sorry, I'm not trying to be weird. I just...
No, yeah, I don't like... So, just people who enjoy
We don't want to denounce anyone.
Well, anthropomorphized characters of animals, okay? Well, they like that. They like those, and they'll make, like, original characters. Or, like, some guy will have, like, a husky or whatever that's human-like. And they'll pay you big bucks to be like, hey, man, he's just like, draw this character doing obscene things. And it's just like and people always talk down to that community, but they're the most like, they'll pay you. They really like seeing their characters come to life.
There's money to be made.
Yeah, there is, and it's just, and I don't want to be like they're cash cows or whatever. I don't want to treat them that way.
No, you're seeing the opportunity though.
Yeah, it's just like,
you can
like,
offer a service straight up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people will mock you or whatever. They'll be like, you draw furry art and whatever, and it's just like
that's a business.
But I make
it.
How come I can pay my bills doing it?
Yeah, and I was just like, yes, laugh at me why I put this $500 in my bank account.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like. So and they're a cool community. They get a bad rep. I'm not a furry.
I mean, I think I love like hearing you talk about it. I always think it's funny. Now, I just love that like you can bring some of this stuff to just the gnarliest, idea like anyone gives you. You can just kind of do it.
I mean, like I guess like so. I guess the only thing I feel comfortable is like draw these two wolves ramming each other. Is like the normalest thing I've gotten.
Normalist is a good word.
Just like the most normal thing I've gotten. Yeah, it was just like with commissions or whatever. And this guy, he was like $25. He's just like, I need to see two wolves ramming it.
So hypothetically speaking, how much would you charge for Barney just spanking one out?
Barney's picking one out.
And I'm talking
do that for
graphic.
free.
Is this for Zach?
This is hypothetical. This is
It's
hypothetical.
a business question.
Has nothing to do with
I'm
my own
asking for a
personal
friend.
life.
Is it color? Oh no, you charge more if it's colored, right?
Yeah, it's just like,
Well, I think the person hypothetically would want it in color.
Okay, I was just like, well, do you
His
want
name's
to...
His name's
Whack.
Whack.
Yeah.
Whack.
Yeah, his name's Whack.
His Whack.
Guy I know named Jack.
Whack
Jack Belswick.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess like 25. You know, something.
Oh, that's
cheap.
not bad.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
just
that's-
like.
We'll let the friend know. that-
Yeah, I
that,
mean-
that hypothetical
but-
person would be satisfied
But
with
it's
that
just
price.
like the
That's
real
good.
question is like, well, what do you want it? Like, do you want it traditionally because that's going to cost more? Do you want it digitally, which would cost less? And it's just like, you know, and also it's just like there's going to be you're going to have to pay a little bit up front. So it's just like,
What if they wanted like an Americana Barney?
what's that even?
All right, Zach. We're done with this hypothetical.
Well,
Yeah, I
we'll
was
carry
just-
on from there.
wait,
now,
I was-
my question for you, Oscar, is how do you value art?
Like, how do I price my art, or how do I?
Well, I mean, what is art like? You know, how do you find the meaning of a piece of art? Like, does something mean more? Does something mean less when you look at something, or what's that thinking?
So once you start getting into art or whatever, and you start like the most relatable thing in art is hands. No one can draw hands. So it's just like everyone will joke around about that or whatever. Or there will be a guy who draws like a stick figure, but he'll have realistic hands. He's like, I can't draw people. Or he's like, I can't draw bodies. Yeah. And it's just like that's something you can appreciate. It's like it seems like we all can agree on that. No matter like, and or like art is hard. And it's just like you could be like a world renowned artist, but you could be like, God, you like I have to paint today. Or like art's hard. You know, that's something we can all like relate to or whatever. It's just like, or when you start getting into drawing not safe for work stuff, it's just like you can follow a bunch of not safe for work artists, and when they draw something horrible, you can laugh at it and be like, wow, that's really good. Or it's just like, wow, it's just like, who knew? You know, like I don't even know. I don't want to be obscene
Okay.
or whatever. I don't want to be rude or
Yep,
crazy or
no.
whatever. It's just like, well, like it's just like, you know, if
So
you,
relatability is important in art to you.
well, yeah. It's, I don't even say relatable because I can look at something and laugh at it. It's just like
It brings emotion to you of some sort, right? Like
Yeah.
if it brings
I don't-
emotion to you,
I don't want to say brings emotion. I don't cry when I see.
Well, no, I mean, laughter.
That you're willing to tell us.
Yeah, happiness is an emotion.
Yeah,
right?
and it was just like Alonzo, when we're hanging out, you know, like I've shown you a couple of really interesting photos, and we've laughed.
More than interesting.
Yeah,
I've seen
but-
some crazy stuff, folks. I'm telling you.
but it's extremely funny.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's just like, and we can laugh at it.
well, I
because-
mean, it's not like it's not talented. I mean, there's
Oh,
really talented
I
people
was
that
just
do
like,
some awesome
I
things.
just like the pictures I show you. People put probably more than like 15 hours in this or whatever. And it's just like, oh my God, you know, it surprises you, but also it makes you laugh at the end. It's like surviving a car crash.
right.
At the end, you're like,
I can't believe I made that.
Yeah, you're like, wow.
So I guess to bring everything to a conclusion here, Oscar, what do you want people to know about you? What makes you different? You know, your followers on Instagram, people you know, people you've worked with. What can you offer? Like what do you think you offer to the world?
I kind of want people to follow me for me. You know, like, yeah, I draw, but I also, you know, I'm a cool guy. I don't want to brag.
I'm a cool guy. I'm a swell guy.
My
Yeah.
mom said a lot of good stuff about me, and
Yeah,
it really
just like,
shows.
I have a really good like Yelp reviews on me. So, but yeah, I mean, I hope people follow me for me because they enjoy like my character, or not even my character, me, just in, like my personality. I'm pretty like laid back, funny. I like offensive humor, so it's just like, you know, I'm a cool guy to just chill out with.
For sure.
So-
Where can people find your art?
Oh, I'm on Instagram. And
Is that the biggest platform you think?
Yeah, it's just
is
like
that where
in-
you want to grow?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
like that's my biggest, and it's just like, and that's kind of like the only place I really been. I upload frequently, and You know, I chat with people. I'm almost addicted to Instagram because I'm on there constantly talking to people.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like I'm on Instagram if you want to find me there. Z4 Zavala. But yeah, check me out.
For sure. Oscar, it's been great having you.
It's been great being on.
Yeah. Thanks, man. We appreciate you.
I love you.